Welcome to the channel everyone for a review on the Hot Toys 1/6 scale City Hunter Predator from Predator 2. I have reviewed this figure in the past, but I did not like the filming techniques I was using at the time, and was very unsatisfied when I went back recently to check what the review looked like, and thought it definitely needs to be redone. There's actually 5 figures around that period in time I used that bad technique to film them, basically using a black velvet background with very minimal lighting, mostly using the torch from the camera to film them. It's just, that's not how you do it. And I was already in the game for about 7-8 years when I did that, and I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I was just experimenting with different techniques, and I guess at the time I thought it looked good, but ugh, not to my eyes now. So definitely need to go back and review those 5 figures again, this being the first of them. And then there is the Elder Predator and the Terminator 1 Cop Shootout version, RoboCop, and the Arkham City Batman, all Hot Toys figures. So you can expect 2.0 reviews on all of them very soon, but obviously starting here with the City Hunter. And Predator 2 is a great film. I love it. It means a lot to me. I'll never forget where I was when I first saw it. It was just one of those cool little random family days. I was only about 10 years old at the time when this came out, and I remember I was with my mum and we went to this part of London called Acton, where my auntie Nora lived at the time on her own, and we always had to go and check in on her and stuff because you know, she just needed help with things, and my mum would be in the kitchen talking to Nora and stuff and just doing family stuff, and they'd always put me in the living room and get me a video from the local kind of mum and pop video store. It wasn't like a Blockbuster or anything, it was just like a kind of small, very grungy and grimy old VHS rental shop. And I remember the carpet was kind of all worn away, and the whole shop had a certain smell to it. Not a bad smell, but just lived in. And I remember picking up the box for this. It was the bigger box, you know, because like the rental ones, they're always bigger. And it was just really big and chunky. And I remember I had already seen Predator 1. And I didn't even know there was a Predator 2, and I was like 10 or 11, and I saw the box. I was like, "Mom, you gotta get me this." And she was like, "Oh no, I don't know about that," but I managed to convince her. And yeah, good times. And I was sitting there with my southern fried chicken watching Predator 2 while, you know, the family did their family thing, and I'm in the living room just chilling out watching this. Good memories, man. Good times. But yeah, I love the movie. I think the effects are incredible. Kevin Peter Hall was in the suit once again, as he was in the original film. And RIP to Kevin Peter Hall, and obviously Stan Winston, and Lord knows how many other amazing special effect guys and artists. I've actually got the Stan Winston effect book here, thanks to Anthony Sang. I've marked the pages where there are reference pictures for Predator 2 City Hunter, so we can always check that during this review too. But anyway, let's get started. The film means a lot to me, and I'm really glad to have the figure. Incredible design, definitely one of the very best looking Predators. You've got this one, the original, and Wolf are my 3 favorites, and I also obviously really like the Elder too, but yeah, always loved City Hunter. Alright, hope you enjoy the review. Let's get started. So we've got all the accessories laid out here. We have the breather mask, which you get 2 versions in case you just want to have him holding it, I guess, in his hands, or the other version where it actually can insert into his face and he can wear it, and the tube will just go around his body, his torso, and into a hole on the back. And various hands, more hands than we got with the Wolf Predator. which if you've seen that Wolf Predator review, you know that there was quite a few niggles and nitpicks with that particular release. They really did give you a lot of great stuff with this particular Predator, but the only real complaint with the City Hunter here, for me, is the off-likeness to the Predator face under the biomask. And some would definitely say the biomask itself, but me personally, I'm not that familiar to the point where I can look at this mask and point out to you the inaccuracies. Possibly the color. You know, it does look a bit dark sometimes, and I don't know, I'd have to go back and watch the film again. I have seen it a lot. But yeah, it definitely looks very accurate to me when the mask is on. Got literally no complaints when he is fully decked out in all his armor. It's only when you take off the mask that things get a little bit ropey if you know your stuff. But at least with this guy, you did get the option for closed mandibles or open mandibles, which is another thing the Wolf Predator, most recently released Predator, did not have, which was total head scratcher. You don't go backwards, always move forwards. You know, when you're developing these kind of things, you don't give someone something, you know, in a particular release and then take it away, you know, in future releases when it's a good idea in the first place. It just disappoints the collectors and frustrates them. But there you go, it is what it is. He had the old school Hot Toys base, which I still like those, but for these particular Predators, they are quite heavy. So he's on there securely, but you always do worry a little bit because he gets a bit wobbly, because it is a heavy piece, and these particular kind of Hot Toys old school stands were not really meant for figures that weighed this much. Got the trophy skull and spine accessory attached to his back, and that's literally just done with a twisty tie, just right up in there. You can see it when you turn it this way. You see there, just tied on, just to whatever the hell I could attach it to, really. I can't remember exactly what it's tied around to there, but it's something, and I'm sure you can achieve that rather easily yourself. But it's nice. You're not meant to see it from that view. It's too obvious. But from this kind of view on display, that looks really cool, I think. Hot Toys, I don't think they gave you a way to do this yourself. So that's why I had to, you know, get the twisty tie and just make it work. But, you know, it's an easy thing to do. And it's good that they give you that accessory. And I guess you got the hand here for holding onto that skull. And you could always pose him like he is here, holding onto it. Now, I will be interjecting some photography from the past. Did plenty of photo sessions with this guy back when I first got him, and did rotating showcase videos, and that was when he was on the rotating base in different poses, turning around. So I'll go ahead and interject some of those bits into this review for you, kind of give you an ultimate review consisting of the best bits of all the Predator 2 videos. So it should be nice and entertaining for you. He had great dreads. And so far, none of that silvery, bronzy, gold sections, the jewelry, I guess you call it, on his dreadlocks. None of that is fading, which is something that did happen with the classic Predator from the third Predator movie by Hot Toys. That one suffered from that, but I don't really hear about that happening with too many other Predators. I think it was a kind of an isolated incident, possibly. Not an isolated incident to one collector. They all have it, apparently, but just to one particular Predator figure by the company. Cool armor on this guy. I've always liked it. It does hinder articulation a bit on this arm, and perhaps a little bit here too. But you can get some good poses out of him. Again, you're going to see that during the review with the photography. And always like the color scheme they went for with Predator 2. Okay, let's start getting a look at some of these reference pictures in the Winston Effect book, courtesy of Anthony Sang out there in Hong Kong. And let's take a look at the dreads. So that is where, I mean, they've obviously got the colors, right? You've got silver, gold, bronze. But let's look at the placement of these compared to the figure itself. I mean, yeah, you can see how these ones, and they're not all in complete line with each other. There are some random ones here and there. So, yeah, I could live with that. They look a little bit more plentiful than they do on the actual head, but maybe that was still in development. That does look pretty finished to me, though, this one. That looks like it's ready to go onto film. But anyway, there's the colouring as well. You can always... We'll come back to that once we take off the mask. More just checking the dread references here. Okay, some awesome artwork. Now this is all with the mask off, so I think it's about time I remove the biomask. Alright, I got the mask off and the open mandible's in. I forgot how hard it was to actually press those mandibles into place. I'm used to the handling the wolf predator recently, and that was all quite easy to assemble, apart from the bits that weren't. But that's another story for another review, which is already up on the channel, so you can go ahead and check that out. But I don't know, man, it's all coming back to me. There's just something unsatisfying about this particular predator face here. Let's get a look. Let's have a look and see what we're dealing with. I guess this, wow, that looks awesome. I guess this is concept, you know, color schemes they were dabbling with. That really is awesome. That reminds me of a spider. I wish someone out there would do a repaint of this, but with that, the black and the white and the red, that is really, really awesome. There is a picture of the mask there, so you can see the coloring. Let's see how, notice how pale this bit is, and on the, well, I suppose actually that's quite a good match color wise, but you can see the mandible is not totally pressed in there. I didn't want to press it too much in case I end up breaking off one of his teeth, or mandibles or something. It was a little bit tricky to get that in flush. But no, I see the coloring. That seems kind of okay to me. How about notice how nice and deep, vibrant the color is there. It's definitely not the same shade. Well, it's pretty close actually, to be honest. That is pretty damn close. It is nighttime in here, and I am using, you know, LED lighting right in his face, so yeah. Well, coloring wise, I'm actually pretty satisfied with that. It's the eyes, really. We can't see the eyes here. Maybe we can in this other page that I have saved. And getting a look at this picture here, you can see the eyes are quite a light color. I guess that's like a yellow surrounded by white. And on the figure, they are very much a very vibrant green. And it resembles the City Hunter for sure, but it isn't right. It's definitely off. But they did capture some really good details. I mean, they did their best with trying to capture that pattern on his dome there, which is very specific, kind of, you know, very specific looking. They've tried to copy it as best they can. I mean, they've done a great job with the detail. And with the more modern predator figures like the wolf, the quills, or these little spiky bits that stick out, they're managing to do that much better these days. But they tried, but remember the mask does have to sit on top of this head, so I guess that's why the actual little quills are as stumpy as they are. They don't really protrude out much from the actual skull or his dome. Don't want to call it a dome. That doesn't sound right at all. But yeah, just definitely a figure that I will always rock with the mask on, because I think with the mask on it's pretty much bang on. But there's definitely something not right about the unmasked look for this figure. Let's try the closed mandibles and see how that looks. Alright, closed mandibles are inserted, and I actually do quite like the way he looks with the closed mandibles option, because it does kind of conceal some of those hideous lines from where the mandibles insert into the headpiece, which are way more obvious when he has the open mandibles inserted. I actually quite like the way he looks here. Definitely prefer this look. In fact, I may even display him like this for a few days or maybe a few weeks, because I always have him with his mask on. I actually quite like the way he looks right, you know, even though it's still not accurate. Obviously the eyes do seem off to me, and you know, the pattern on the head, they've done their best with that. It's close enough. And the color scheme seems to, you know, for the most part match up quite well. It's definitely not 100%, but I do still think this is a very imposing looking piece. And once the mask is on again, it goes up by a considerable amount of notches in the awesome factor department. But I think that looks pretty good. Let me get right up in there. You see all the goodies. The quills on the head there, they are quite subtle. Mostly I think due to the fact that the mask has to sit on top of this head. They could have just done a separate head, and therefore the quills could have been way more, you know, like they are on the wolf, on the side of the head sculpt on the wolf predator. They really do stick out, and on this they're just part of the sculpt itself, and they kind of give the impression that they're protruding out from the head, but it is slightly, but mostly it's just an illusion to kind of give that impression. Definitely dig the color scheme on this guy, but can't help but think there should be a little bit more of a kind of a bit more detail in places here. I'd have to check again for reference, but it's definitely well done. Of course, there are other accessories which I haven't mentioned yet. You've got the smart disc here, which attaches to the side section. That slightly extends when you want him to hold on to it. The combi stick, which does extend, that's not metal, none of that is, and the smart disc is plastic as well. So that's plastic, this is plastic, and although it does have some great detail on the combi stick, his wrist blades are metal and very sharp, so watch out for those. He does have his net gun here as well, which does detach and always drops off, although it will stay on there just as soon as you touch it, though it will drop off, so that's always been a little bit of a pain in the butt. Here's awesome little shoulder cannon here, which can go around and move and turn and do anything you want it to do, and then just rests back there. And you've also got his little medical kit that he uses to heal himself. That opens up slightly and you can see some goodies inside. It attaches to his back. And obviously you saw the trophy skull and spine, which is really gory looking. In fact, let me just try and get you a nice little close-up on that. Turn that brightness down. Ooh, there you go. Picking up all that wet, grimy nastiness. Look at that. Very, very nice. Ooh, gruesome. But he's got to have it. That is one accessory the city hunter has to have. So I think that's all of them. He's got some little pouches and stuff that kind of sit around his waist. Like this one here. His hand's in the way. There you go. It's got some kind of bone thingy. I remember the old Hot Toys Predator 2 Pred had a little necklace thing. I don't know if this one has that. I can't see it around anywhere. So yeah, I'll have to research that one a little bit. I believe there is actually a light up feature on the biomask, because I've just seen the little battery bit here that connects into his back there. So I think the light actually came from this bit here, but I'm not going to be lighting that up right now. Perhaps there's some pictures I've taken some time ago which I'll intersplice into the video, and you can check it out that way. But he certainly came with pretty much everything you'd want him to. Lots of good stuff. Oh, and the severed arm, of course, which is super gory. But it's really cool that you have that option. That works well with obviously the combi stick and the breathing, you know, mask that he wears. Very cool that you can pull off that look. Just trying out one open mandible and one closed mandible, like they do sometimes where, like in the first film, when Arnie punches the pred, and then just one mandible kind of does a little movement. So I think it looks pretty cool. You could always do that for a couple of pictures with photography sessions, and just makes them look a little bit different. So that is one open mandible on that side and a closed mandible on this side. Just going through the instructions, trying to find how you open his little wrist or gauntlet projectile thing. Remember in the film he shoots Danny Glover with this? It opens up and that kind of lifts up and raises forward. I'm pretty damn sure that does do that with the figure. I'm not going to mess with it right now, but pretty sure that does open up and move. But I can't spot it in the instructions anywhere. That's odd. Anyway, moving on. Alright, the severed arm accessory is now on the body, and I think that looks really cool. And again, I'm still enjoying that half and half option with the mandibles, one open, one closed. It's almost like some weird kind of predator sneer. You're saying, I know I haven't got an arm anymore, but I'm still gonna whoop it. Still gonna tax that ass. Yeah, that looks good. Combi stick is all the way extended. One thing that's always bugged me about it though, I had the same issue with the original Hot Toys Predator 2 as well, he just doesn't hold on to it very well. It's so loose, and it just prevents a few of the poses you want to go with. I mean, you can still achieve them, but you might need to improvise a little bit. But there's actually, look, a fair bit of space for the combi stick to move around in his clutching hand. So always a little bit of a frustrating accessory, that one, but very well done. It would have been nice if parts of it were possibly metal, but who knows, maybe the way things have evolved with the figures by Hot Toys these days, perhaps some of it would be if it was released again. But there's really, I don't know how much chance there is of another Predator 2 City Hunter from Hot Toys. I mean, there is a reason, obviously, the likeness. It could go back and perfect this head, but I don't know if I'm ready for that. It took a while for me to kind of come around to the idea of selling my original one and getting this. I remember that was a bit of a sore point for a while. This was back when Hot Toys first started remaking previously made figures by the company. They didn't always do that, but this was one of those situations where the original Predators, or the original Predator line from Hot Toys, did start to get re-released with the updated bodies and other changes. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm more than satisfied, like I said, with the mask on. It's perfect. And I still kind of like him with the mask off, as I've said. It is growing on me again, seeing him like this. So I think I will display him once I'm finished with the review here. I think I will have the severed arm and an unmasked look. Might have him either holding the spear or maybe holding on to the the breathing mask instead. I'll show you what it looks like when we actually put this on him now. Let's do that next. Alright, so the breathing mask just goes right into the back of this big old hole here, which is very easy to do, and it goes right in, very secure and snug. And then just comes around the body. And he's now wearing the breathing mask, and with those very bright green eyes, this look is quite terrifying, to say the least. Yeah, I do think this is how I'm going to be rocking him on the shelf, definitely with this mask. It just looks amazing. Kind of makes you forgive some of the other things about the piece, but wow. Yeah, that is just about 13 inches of awesomeness right there. That's what she said. Getting there, this does look really cool. It's just coming back to that frustrating issue with the hand not holding on to this. I mean, look how loose that is. Look, it's just flopping around. It's just, yeah, really need a tighter grip. I guess I could heat that up and try and, you know, close the grip a little bit myself. But that might be my final pose for display with this piece. Bit of an unsightly elbow joint, but what are you going to do? Alright guys, that's the end of the review. I found the pose I want to display him in, so I want to leave him like this. Hope you've enjoyed this re-review, and like I said, there are 4 other figures that I need to re-review like this. The Elder, the Robocop figure, the Terminator 1 cop shootout version, and the Arkham City Batman. So they'll all be getting the treatment in the near future too. Got a few things coming to the channel Michael Myers related. We have a great 1/6 scale 2018 Myers head sculpt coming, which I'll let you know more about that real soon. Should be awesome. And still waiting for that Ultimate NECA Michael Myers figure to turn up. Seeing a lot of that on YouTube and Facebook, so I'm really looking forward to getting my one. And I'm sure there's some other stuff I'm forgetting about as well. But most of the pending things have either been released and have shown up by now, like the big Catwoman by Prime 1 there. There is still the 1/4 scale Heath Ledger Joker by Hot Toys that's been paid for, just waiting for that to get released. And that should be pretty soon. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I'd give this, I can't remember what I gave it originally in the old review, but I'd definitely give this a solid 8 or an 8.5 out of 10. Comes with some great accessories, and I love the movie too. A really good Predator figure. You know, even forgiving some of the likeness issues to the actual Predator head under the mask, it's still a very, very awesome piece. And with the mask on, pretty much perfect. So, let me know your thoughts. Subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notifications on all the videos. Check me out on Facebook, follow me on Instagram at D9333. Check me out on Patreon if you want to help the channel keep tooting along. Appreciate all you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.